And then, when the generation becomes the mainstream, then you probably will have some generations coming up, and then, we're going to have stereotypes against their generation. It's the same thing. But, generation culture can be a subculture within a larger culture. Here it says, California culture, or, Kansas culture. It's different. Co-culture, some refer to subcultures as co-cultures. So just think about a co-culture as a part of a larger culture. To suggest the group's equality with regard to the larger culture. So it's the way they frame this. So we talk about it, you can find a co-culture or subculture based on the locations, based on class, based on age, sometimes based on gender or different things. Or if you want to look at politics, political orientations, or if you look at religion, you can find a different co-culture. All activities, sports, clubs, societies, membership, associations. If you're a part of an association, if you're part of a club, or if you're part of a society, a small student society, you're part of that co-culture. So because of time, we are not going to do this, but just think about it, your co-culture. Think about it, if you consider this outside your national culture, this is your national culture, then inside probably you have a different co-culture and subcultures. Okay? So for me, I'm Chinese, so Chinese culture outside. And then probably I have other identities or other membership. I'm a teacher, a college professor, so I can have this here. Okay? And then I can have, if I have a religion, if I'm Buddhist, if I'm Christian, then I can put my religion there. My political view, I'm kind of independent. Yeah. So I can put there. I have a membership of National Communication Association. I can put it in a co-culture there. I have different hobbies. So one of the hobbies so they have a name for that. They call it AFO, Adult Friend of Lego. so I know a lot of people who are good at that. So that's another co-culture. So you can find your co-cultures if you kind of draw circles like this, and then kind of figure out your own identity. So basically, this will help you to understand your identity. But those are the co-cultures, and all we talk about culture. But how can we describe a culture? Sometimes we just these cultures eat this kind of food. They celebrate this way. They celebrate Christmas, or they celebrate the New Year. They celebrate different festivals, right? So those are the activities that people do, or food they eat, or costume they wear, traditional clothes. So those are kind of superficial stuff. You can describe those things, but you can't really say, this culture is very different from this culture because the clothes they wear. So you are basically describing the outside, the characteristic. But we want to know a little bit deeper. We want to compare culture at a deeper level. So here's how people do it. There's a scholar called Hofstede. He was hired, and his team was hired by IBM. IBM is a big company. And in 1990s, IBM had offices around the world in different countries. Still, they do now. And IBM was interested to find out more about the culture, more about how culture affects people, because they want to know how they adjust their business, their model to local cultures. So they hired Hofstede and his team. They did surveys and interviews with many employees from all kinds of countries. And then they came up with this book. And then in the book, basically, they describing a model called a 6D model. Originally, they had a 5D, but later they add another D. D represented dimension. So instead of to describe people's clothes, food, festivals, they decided to go a little bit deeper to describe dimensions. Okay, and compare two cultures on the same dimension. See, what's the difference there? So we're gonna do activities together. I'm gonna get a marker, and I would like you to get a piece of paper and a pen. If you don't have one, probably borrow from other people. So I want you to pick a culture that you are familiar with. Most of you are familiar with American culture. If you know a second culture and you know that culture pretty well, you can pick the second culture. You just try to figure out how much you know that culture. So I'm going to use my culture as an example to demonstrate as I'm going to explain those dimensions. So you can draw a line like this. If you use your paper, probably it's better for you to like a landscape instead of that way. So basically, we are going to look at 6 dimensions. Okay, I'm using Chinese culture, so this is the culture I'm going to use. So the first one we're going to look at is power distance. So here's a 0, here's a 100. So basically, we try to figure out what's this culture score on the dimension, whether this is 100 points or 0 points. So for example, the first one, power distance, PD. I just write PD there. Power distance. Power distance is basically describing, lines of authority, how power is distributed throughout the society. Okay. So if you see this culture has big problem with power equality. So few people control a lot of things, they have a lot of power, and most people, they are powerless, and the distance is really high. Or if you view the most powerful person in your country, and then you feel like you are down here, you are not as equal as that person, then you basically experience a high power distance. Okay. So basically, there are 2 aspects. One aspect is, every country or every culture, you're going to have power inequality thing exists in the culture. But at the same time, your view of the power distance can be very different. I'm going to look at China. I think China has really high power distance. Few people, the Communist Party, the chairman of the Communist Party, the committee, they actually control a lot of the decisions. They're going to make decisions for the country. The power is not distributed well, and if you feel like you are powerless, if you're on the bottom. So I'm going to say China is 80. Just put a bar graph there, 80. So that's pretty high. If you think U.S. or Japan or other countries higher than 80 or lower than 80, put a number there. We can find out the results because Hofstede's website actually has the results from his study, so we can compare our number to his. So that's high power distance or low power distance. Also think about the organizations. We talk about scientific management or consult or join. So basically, how you distribute the power. The second one is individualistic versus collectivistic. Okay. So this one actually you are measuring individualistic. So just put in there, individualistic. So if you think your country is, or your culture is individualistic culture or country, so values personal achievement, heroes. You know, if you watch movies, basically they just see one person save the whole world, right? You achievement, personal accomplishment, and also you make your own decisions, especially like big decisions. So where you go to college, who you're gonna marry, all those big important decisions, you are responsible for that, and you make your own decisions. But you know, when you look at collectivist culture, the values group achievement, harmony in the group. So you don't want to make decisions that will offend your group or family, especially family considered the most important group in the society. Sometimes you don't get to make your own decision. You cannot marry the person you wanted to marry. Actually, the family will make, you know, arrange a marriage, or they wanted you marry this person because good for the family. Or they wanted you to go to this college, major in this area because they think it's better for the family in the future, financially. Okay? So that's collectivist culture. But if you experience financial problems or difficulties, your families will be there to help you. And a lot of times they don't expect you to pay back. So usually the family will take care of young, and then when the family, the people grow older, you are supposed to take care of them. You don't send them to nursing home, assisted living. You take care of them. That's collectivist culture. China is very much collectivist culture, so I would think individualist is low, probably 40, or even lower. You just put there 35. But you know, what you do is your culture, think about your own culture, whether it's individualistic or collectivistic. The next one is masculine or feminine culture. Okay. So masculine culture doesn't mean that you have more men than women. You know, each society is about the same. Masculine society, basically, the features, the characteristics, or the things that they value competition, they value heroes, they value opportunities, and they fight for opportunities, competition for that. Feminine culture, they value equality, relationship, caring, cooperation, consensus. Okay, so I would think that China is kind of in the middle, but a little bit of, so we are measuring masculinity. So I would think China is about 60. But think about your own country or your own culture. So this high means this culture is masculine culture. Low, that means it's feminine culture. Usually, European countries, especially Northern European countries, they are really high they are really low on this dimension. So they are feminine culture. Try to figure out this clicker. Okay, so the next one, the fourth one, dimension. So this is another dimension to measure culture. This is called uncertainty avoidance. Okay, so uncertainty avoidance, the U there. So UA there. So basically, this culture dimension measures, or explains how people react to uncertainty. So some cultures, they are okay, they are comfortable living with the uncertainty. If they don't know tomorrow, if they don't have money or financial support for tomorrow, they are not that worried. Sometimes not tomorrow, like next year, they are not very worried about the situation. Or if they don't know the plan for this project, they just want to figure out as they are doing that, they are okay with that. But other cultures, they are really high on this uncertainty avoidance. They don't like uncertainty. They are uncomfortable. They want to know for sure. They want to know whether they're going to have support. They want to know the steps in the project. They want to know deadlines. They want to know all the details. Okay. So I think China is kind of in the middle. So uncertainty avoidance, probably, I'm just say 50. I don't know the results. I haven't seen the result for a while, so I'm just seeing 15. Long-term orientation and short-term orientation, that's the fifth one. Long-term orientation, that means you are planning for the future. That means you emphasize or you think saving is important. You save for your future. So the saving rate in that culture is relatively high. And also, this culture, they kind of value education because education is long-term investment. So you are actually investing 4 years of college or 12 years or 15 years in education. Hopefully that in the future that will bring returns. Short-term orientation, basically, you are kind of want to focus now or in the past. So what you can get now? Can I buy this now? Can I enjoy this now? So long-term orientation, China is really high. It's 90. Just emphasize on saving, education. Think about for the future. Suffer now, but in the future you can enjoy. Indulgent versus restrained culture. Indulgent, basically, you want a gratification for desires. You want to have happy. You want to party. You want to enjoy your time now. Restrained culture, you can't really enjoy things simply out of want because there are so many social norms, religious norms, regulations, or expectations that you don't really do things easily because without considering all those forms. So this is indulgent. So indulgent. So just put it right there. And I think that China is really low, probably 35. We're going to talk about that one next class. That's a different one, high context and low context culture. That's not from Hofstede. We're going to find out the results now. And probably take a look at yours and compare yours with this one. We can have 4 countries there for comparison. So I'm going to put China there. What other countries? Do you want me to put China there? Okay. Do we have another country? Sorry?
I used America.
Okay. United States? Oh, sorry. Any other countries you want to look at?
Mexico.
Mexico? Sure. Let me put Japan there. And Mexico. Okay, make it a little bit larger so you can see. So you can see the colors. Blue is China, the United States is orange, yellow, and Japan is purple, and Mexico is green, light green. So let's look at the power distance. China is 80, so good. United States is 40. Okay, and Japan is 54, right? 54. And Mexico is 81. So that's power distance. How you view power or how power is distributed in the country. Individualistic, United States is very high, 91. That's almost the highest one in the world. No surprise. Hopefully, no surprise to you. China is low, only 20%. 20? Seriously? Okay. I guess we're not as individualistic as I think. So Japan kind of in the middle, and Mexico is also low. Masculinity, Japan is really high. Japan is the highest one, I can tell you, in the whole world, 95. And China is in the middle, and the rest of the countries kind of in the middle, 60 something. And uncertainty avoidance, Japan is really high, Mexico is really high, 92, 82. United States is not that high, it's 46, but in the middle, China is really low, 30. So actually I guess that wrong. Long-term orientation, Both those two East Asian countries are really high, saving long-term investment, education 87, 88. Right? And then both the other two American countries are kind of low, 24, 26. The last one, indulgence. How much you enjoy life, or enjoy life now without thinking about those things. So the highest one is Mexico. Kind of no surprise because Latin America or the South America, Middle America, Mexico. So they kind of they have carnivals, right? They have festivals, dancing, enjoying, partying, and the United States is relatively high, 68. So hopefully that's no surprise. But China is really low, 24, so we don't really enjoy life at all. We're suffering. Worry too. So basically we're saving money for the future all the time without having any fun. That's our life. Okay. So let's stop right here. We're going to continue the chapter next class. Thank you for coming during this weather and stay warm. Okay. See you on Monday.